welcome to the Fashion Bunker. Dacob here. We are doing top of the month. So my top 5 perfumes for the month of April. Now, this is the first time I'm doing it live ever. Actually, I'm not so sure if I did it 2 years ago. I don't think I did. Can't remember. Time does fly, and whilst you're in isolation, a lot of things go through your mind, and it's all a mess. So you start forgetting things, but then you remember things that you thought you would never remember again, and then all of a sudden you remember stuff. So, top 5 perfumes for the month of April, plus only for my patrons, and I would like to thank my patrons very much. SUPERDACOB on Patreon. You could check me out there. Exclusive videos that only upload there or come there before they come to YouTube, or longer extended versions, as will be the version of this one extended. The 6th perfume will be only visible on Patreon. All right, let's get straight to it. So I have decided to conceptualize this month. What does this mean? That April will be, I've done this a couple of months ago already. It worked very well for me psychologically. And I think structure is much needed right now because we're in isolation and we tend to lose concept of time, of space, and we have the feeling that you don't know when the day begins, when the night ends, when the night begins, when the day ends. So I'm thinking putting a little bit of structure into my life is a good thing. Well, so I have structured the perfumes according to years of release dates. And since we are in the 20s, my first perfume is from 1922, and it is Chanel number 22. Now, I have here the Eau de Toilette, and I do have the Eau de Parfum, and I also use the Pure Perfume. This is the color that it changes. So if you're putting it, if this one is quite old, I think it's around 10 years now. Where's the batch code? Yeah, it's a 5.8. So this is around 10 years old by now. And it turned to this gorgeous, gorgeous ambery orange gold color, but actually it's usually like this. Now the Eau de Parfum, I'm also using it, and I've come to terms with it, and I've mentioned this before and I'm mentioning it again. The formulas for the original 4 Les Exclusives that were developed by Ernest Beau, the Eau de Parfum formulations already existed. They weren't all released, but they were somewhere in a drawer waiting to be released. So we can't say that Olivier Polge destroyed them like he did with a lot of the... Oh, God, I gotta move around here. Position. Oh, shit, the bottles are falling. Olivier kind of damaged 31 Rue Cambon. He damaged Bel Respiro. He damaged Sycamore. By damaged, I mean when the Eau de Toilettes were discontinued in favor of the Eau de Parfum. So... But we're lacking the incense in the Eau de Parfum. But sometimes it's a nice way to initiate the day in a softer way with the Eau de Parfum. And the Eau de Parfum is not as intense as the Eau de Toilette, of course. Go figure. Of course, Chanel is going to bail out on us, give us lower quality for more money. Okay, so Eau de Toilette in the morning, or Eau de Parfum if I want something softer. And this gives me a notion of the 20s as they were. You know, because we're in this period right now where we want to evade and escape and go to a time that's past. But then, because we think, oh, you know, I find myself several times a day repeating to myself, oh, those were the days. Oh, it was so nice back then when. Because right now, I mean, what do we have right now? We have 4 walls that isolate us, and we rarely poke our noses out of the window just to have a hint of how the fresh air is outside, but other than that, that's that. And so number 22 gives me that whiff of the 20s. Now, mind you, this is 1922. We're between the 2 world wars. Second World War is about to come. So it's not like they called them the Roaring 20s, but the 20s were really a preparation for what was to come in terms of Second World War. So those were crazy times. You could say in many respects for the arts, they were also good times, but they were also terrible times. For many people, a lot of poverty, a lot of problems. So 1922 represents to me a smell that there's a hope for creativity, but a very precise memory of a terrible state in which Europe was, because it was heading towards something terrible, similar to what we're having right now. Do we learn from the past? We never do. Number 22 smells of that memory And it warns you, it reminds you constantly, don't repeat the past. Don't make the same mistakes of the past. Don't do it, don't do it, you know. We still end up doing it, but we try not to. So I have my little booklet. By the way, this is also something. Where can I go? I can't show you too much of my ideas, stuff that's coming up, but I have my lists here. It's so funny. Like I have, what am I allowed to show you? Ooh. You can see here a list of stuff. The review video of the Chanel Blue Velvet bag, and there's like timetables, schedules. Like I planned this shit out, you guys. It's not that it's just like, oh, la la la, let's talk. No, there's structure there. The second perfume, just saying, the second perfume on the list, chronologically, we're jumping from the 20s into the 80s. Why the 80s? Because the 80s were, yes, we have the Cold War, but at the same time, it was the best for pop culture. There was a sense of joy in the air and just a sense of lightness. And there was a lightness, a lightheartedness. Fashion was crazy, was all over the place. People were not afraid of colors. Nowadays, it's all about the gray hues and the black hues. Back then, people were not afraid of colors. So, you have never seen me talk about this perfume before. This is a first for the Fashion Bunker. And I love this. And I am on my second bottle, mind you. I don't know why I never spoke about it. Maybe because it's been many years that I haven't used it and I'm using it again. This is it, you guys. Liz Claiborne, 1986. Was it 1986? I wrote it down the exact here because I'm really bad with it. Yeah, it's 1986, and the perfumer is Nicolas Calderone, or Nicolas Calderone, or Nicolas Calderoni. But it's actually, look at this. Look at this beautiful bottle. This is a masterpiece. And right now, so after 1922 starts fading a little bit, so around 1 p.m., I jump into this. I kid you not, guys. Right now, in this period of uncertainty and fear, and we're completely going bananas in our apartments, in our houses, wherever we are, and we don't know what's going to happen in the future, and we're scared. This thing boosts my mood. It is sunshine in a bottle. And it's one of those cheapies, you know. Nowadays you can get it, you can order it online on Amazon or wherever for like $20, $30. But it is just so good. And it's made in the USA, not in Europe. Hence the IFRA regulations, that mafia of a corporation, don't apply. You get the real oak moss in here. Just saying. Oh my God. The designer of this bottle is Pierre Dinant. Pierre Dinant is the designer of the opium bottle too. So this is a masterpiece of a bottle and a masterpiece of a perfume. It is floral but powdery. It has a sparkly aldehyde opening to it. It has a happy lifespan. It's happy on your skin. It's 80s happiness on your skin. It's not tacky. It's floral, yes, but it's really, really happy, and it peps your mood, it boosts your mood, and it's very affordable. Try to get the batch that still has this little thing attached to it. The newer bottles don't have it anymore. This is how you know, because I do believe it's been reformulated again. So you try getting an older batch. The older they are, the more intense they are. This one makes me so happy, you guys. Liz Claiborne, Pierre Dinant bottle. After that, we're moving. So this was the 80s. This is my representation of the 80s. This is my love of the 80s. And it is the first time that Liz Claiborne has made it in my top 5 perfumes of the month. So thank you. Thank you, Liz. Next one up, 1998. Now we're in the 90s. So Liz Claiborne, let's say she guides us through until, I would say, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And then from 6 p.m., we go to 1998's, losing my voice, Boudoir, the love of my life. Vivienne Westwood's Boudoir, almost empty. I'm going to open a new bottle. A little scoop for y'alls. I am working on a really complex review of this one. I know I've been saying this for like a year now, and everybody's like, when is it coming? A little scoop, the unboxing of the next bottle will be in the review video as well. I'm going to film that because it's a ritual. Anyway, so just to let you know, when this one ends, it's almost empty. The unboxing of the next, because I stocked up on this one, by the way, discontinued, unfortunately, because there is no more distribution for it. Coty wanted to push many new perfumes from Westwood onto the market. Vivienne said, no, I don't want to overproduce. I want my Boudoir. That's the one I love. Keep producing this one. I don't want the other perfumes. And then Coty said, well, if you don't want to launch a perfume a year, it's not profitable for us to just keep one perfume. So we don't want to work with you anymore. Terrible. Coty, not good at you. So, so yes, I stocked up on this one. I have a lot of them because I use them also. Look at this. Dirty, skanky, nasty bubblegum. The marigold in here is what makes it for me. I mean, I know that at 5, 6 p.m. onwards, I like to wear it, but honestly, there are those days where this one replaces number 22. They're very similar in spirit. Now, bear with me. What does this mean? They have, at the core, they have this joie de vivre, you know, this happiness, this joy of life, which is very similar for both of them. So, what does this mean? This means that, to me, they belong in the same family. Like, Boudoir is Vivienne's number 22. And even though Ernest Beau never smelled Boudoir, obviously, he designed this in the 20s, this came out in the 90s. But to me, number 22 is kind of the Chanel version of Boudoir, even though it can't be, obviously. But if anything, this is the Vivienne version of number 22. Older formulations. So they're kind of intertwined. Their fates are united. So sometimes I do start the day with this one instead of this one. Just saying. But anyway, in the evening, Boudoir with its marigold, with its tobacco, with its kind of drenched in honey rose. I don't want to say too much about it because I want to review it, but Vivienne herself also mentioned that there's this kind of post-coital smell to it, which is very sensual. I mean, it's amazing. And it is dirty in a way. Now, Lancaster released it first, and then Coty took over after a certain period of time. Both versions are fine. I also love the Coty version. That bubblegummy, dirty bubblegummy opening. You have to try Boudoir. I mean, I can't say too much because I really want to keep a lot for the review. So now we're moving on to, from the 90s, we're going on to, oh, this I can say already for my patrons. This is the slot, the time slot where our 6th fragrance is going to come into play, but we can't mention it yet. And now we're going to the, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4th perfume. 2019, you guys. 2019, somewhere I think beginning of 2019, saw the release of Caroline Dumour's, I think it's pronounced Caroline Dumour's Comme des Garcons Clash series, Chlorophyll Gardenia. Now, Chlorophyll Gardenia kills you. Again, I need this as a boost of energy. This is something that most people would use in the morning, but I like it in the evening because usually I arrive to the end of the day quite depressed. You watch the news, you watch the numbers go up in terms of how many people got infected, like not got infected, but how many new confirmed cases of coronavirus are out there, and the death numbers are rising, and it's just so depressing. So I need a morning dewy smell in the evening just to give me that boost. And it's fascinating to put this one on after this one, a couple of hours after this one, because the chlorophyll in here, you can check out the review of this one on my channel. I reviewed it a couple of weeks ago. Those pre-pandemic reviews. And really good because it's very artificial. And I'm looking for something artificial now because like the natural reality, the state of thing, like my natural habitat at the moment, like my life at the moment, tragic. So I want something artificial that's better than reality. And this one really delivers on that point because the chlorophyll aspect of it is it's a green, airy smell, right? And that green and airy smell, it really smells like it's a conceptual version of being outdoors. So because we can't be outdoors at the moment, this one smells like as if you were outdoors where there's fresh air, if that makes any sense. So chlorophyll gardenia is number 4, and the opening of this one is hardcore. You really gotta dose it so carefully. It's only 30 milliliter. It's only available as 30 ml. It's an eau de parfum, but honestly, it smells for days. It doesn't stop. It's so intense, and the opening is suffocating. It's nauseating, but then the dry down really becomes majestic. It's like you went to an expensive hair salon and they did some real magic on your hair and they washed your hair and then they massaged it with some products that have that particular expensive hair product smell mixed with the gardenia, with a artificial gardenia. But I mean, all Comme des Garçons fragrances are famous for their artificiality, for their plasticity, but that's good. We know, like, you don't expect a Comme des Garçons fragrance to smell of all natural ingredients. You know what you're going into when you go for a Comme des Garçons fragrance. So that's chlorophyll gardenia, and it gives me a boost. It gives me a little bit of hope. It makes me feel like I'm outdoors even though I'm indoors. Just be careful how much you apply because this one can suffocate you. And as I said, because it's 30 ml, treat it as a pure perfume. Dose it very sparingly and you're going to get the best out of it if you know. And very important with this one, do not spray it close to don't do the puddle spraying. You got to distance it. You need the little cloud that just kind of caresses your skin because it's going to stick to you. It claws its way onto you and it doesn't let you go even after washing your hands. So, yes. Now, this one is a shocker. I would have never thought that this would be one of my favorite, but it is very soothing and calming for me at night. Usually end my top 5 with a perfume that is super intense, sensual. I talk about this sexuality stuff. But no, right now, in this phase of my life, I need peace. I need something that calms me, that relaxes me, something that gives me, even though it's an artificial, nevertheless, a sense of tranquility. This has a herb inside of it. It has a flower inside of it that I cannot drink in form of tea because I'm allergic to it, but internally. But externally, I love its smell, and I like to apply it to my skin. So this one, as complex as it is, as complicated as it is to love this one, it really works out for me after many, many months, and you're going to see now, I'm going to show it to you how much I've used it up already. This one also released in 2019, August 1st, or 1st of August, 2019, Alberto Morillas. Alberto Morillas is the perfumer behind this one for Gucci. It's Memoire d'un odeur. What do you know? The memory of an odor. I reviewed this one on my channel as well, and it did not get the best of reviews. I mean, it got a great review, meaning I gave my best to review it, but it did not pass with flying colors in terms of it didn't get the best note it could get. And I still have a lot of problems with this one. They could have balanced it and blended better, but the chamomile, this Roman chamomile in there, you can see how much, look at this. This for me is a lot for perfume. And this is, again, this is another coty. So we have 2 coties in the list today. We got the Boudoir coty, and then we have the Gucci coty. I spray this one because on the skin it lasts literally 15 minutes and then it's gone. So I spray it on my pajamas, like t-shirt or PJs, depending what I'm wearing that night. I spray it on, and it has a calming effect right before going to bed. So this is kind of like going to bed perfume. And it's a simple one. I mean, it's complex in a way. There's bitterness in there. It's not the easiest one to appreciate, but the more you wear it, especially at home, I've had a lot of time to get used to it. It's okay now. Why are people laughing? Why is everybody shocked? So for people who are tuning in just now, posthumously, I mean on YouTube, not here in Instagram Live. This is a live stream, by the way. So this is being filmed live and I'm going to interact. So this is the 5th one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've had all 5. Thank you guys so much for watching. For my patrons, stay tuned for the 6th fragrance, which I will record separately. It's not going to be a live stream. And other than that, follow me on YouTube if you haven't already. SUPERDACOB all spelled together. Also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Mwah.